and welcome to the session number 6 of sharing success stories with Dr. Purni. And today I'm with a very interesting person, Mr. A. Sarvesan. He's been my guide, mentor, and I've been knowing him for lots and lots of years, like around, I think it's nearly 8 years plus. So let me just give you a small introduction about him before we start. I think his experience is like that I could take a one hour to just describe his experience, but I'm just giving you a nutshell. So Mr. Sarvesan is an organizational development and behavioral consultant, strategic human resources developer and behavioral analyst, and he specializes in the area of consulting and empowering people, personal mastery, value based leadership, emerging competencies for new leadership paradigm, result based leadership, corporate social responsibilities, and many more. So he has served as a head of learning and development and CSR with Orchard Cuticles, and has been a CSR head with Stride Shasans, and he actually found and promoted an organization called Prabodhika, which serves as a steadfast partner for the top management and strategic human resource alignment and development. And he had a widespread experience in pharmaceutical, auto, cement, retail, and services, and many other segments. So, Mr. Sarvesan believes that every person should rise to one's own level of personal potential and competence and continually keep improving in the key, and that is the key towards success. Okay, and he also uses engrossing innovative training methods with fun-filled activities consisting of games, theater techniques, and innovative new experiential learning methods. So he is also an exemplary learner, and I've seen him that he has a wide library of books, wonderful books collection that he has, and he keeps reading and he keeps sharing with so many people always. And he's a tangible thinker and innovator, and he always questions the status quo and helps to influence change management and proves to be an authentic leader. So among us we have a very passionate person who is currently into Zen Y and Zen X training, Zen Z generations of leadership training, and he is also building self knowledge to embrace purposeful living. So here, without any further delay, let me welcome Mr. A. Sarvesan, and I'm so happy to have you, sir, today here. Welcome to our sharing success stories with Dr. Purni. And today I'm really delighted to actually get lots and lots of insights from you. So over to you. I just wanted you to give your intro and also tell what, according to you, is leadership.
Good morning, Burni. Good morning, viewers. Good morning, Ask Academy family. It is nice to talk to all of you. It is very important in the life, understanding leadership itself. Before going to that topic, currently I also work as a CSR head and consultant for from Stride Sashan. I moved to now Stellite, that is Vedanta Group. So that also one of the things which I wanted to say. So I take care of corporate social responsibilities. And I always believe in whether it is CSR or HR, it helps people to grow, people to develop their leadership. What is leadership? It is a very interesting question. I think every one of us should understand very properly. Leadership is all about inspiring others. Inspiring others for what? Inspiring others for larger purpose of life. Larger purpose of life, people always created bigger impact in the society, bigger impact in the organization they are working or they work, and very important is they are also valued. So I look at the leadership is all about having a larger purpose with a greater vision and value, to inspire others and motivate others and enroll others into the vision.
Wonderful, wonderful, sir. It's a great start. Yes, leadership, according to us, we all have been playing that role of leadership everywhere, almost in the family, with our children. Also, we would take a lead. Sometimes our children take a lead on us also, and in the society, among our own, club or any other social responsibilities that we take up, and in the organizations, workplace, many places we have always been there with playing a leadership role. So tell me your journey. We are really happy to, delighted to have to know that about your journey on how you became a leader, and or how you realized that leadership inside you, and what is that incidence, or just tell us about your journey of leadership.
If, if you really ask me whether I am a leader, I will be happy to say I am always a learner on leadership.
Okay.
Whether I become leader or not, that is immaterial. But I believe that I am a learner on leadership. I continuously do that. But journey about, I will say, understanding leadership, working with others on leadership, it started very back because I started my career as a lecturer uh, at Laila College. I started teaching postgraduate students of social work way back in 1990, almost 30 years ago. So that gave me one clear, I will say, understanding about who is the leader. Leader is all about who believes himself, who is able to inspire others, and also he is a person whose authenticity level is very, very high. When I started with working with students, I should inspire them. For that, I should be a role model. So when I wanted to students to say that is, please you go and read in libraries, I will be the first person will be going to libraries post classroom sessions. So I always enjoyed seeing some of my students whom I inspired. Today they have become big people in their walk of life. Few have become principals at the college, and few have become administrative officers. And those are the people which I inspired. So I feel it is leadership starts with your role modeling as a leader.
Wonderful, very true, very true. And this important, learning is can be actually applied everywhere, be it in the family, in the society, or in the club, or in a small, even a friendship circle that you're in. You wanted people to get inspired by you, and I think the first key thing is being a role model, which is really, really, great learning for all of us. So, this is one question which is always there in the minds of everyone. Are leaders born or made?
Neither of this true. They are not made, they are not born.
Okay.
So it is, you have to really evaluate, you have to explore in a very, very different way. Because all the people who are born, they don't become leaders. All the people cannot be made as leaders.
Very
So
true.
what I am driving to say is a person with fire, when he is coached, when he was trained, he becomes the leader. So it
Wow.
is both the qualities. A person needs the basic qualities to become a leader. And in fact, if you really look at that, Jim Collins used to say, uh, very, very, always we have a very, very cliche saying that people are assets. He always used to say, right people are assets. The same
Okay.
principle I apply here. It is very clear. People who have fire within their bellies, if they are trained, they will become leaders. Either they are born nor they are made.
Wonderful, wonderful. Actually, this is a very, very great eye opener for a lot of us. So, most of the time we think that, if a person, either they are born, they are born in the family of leaders, they are going to be the leader. That's not happening now in the current. We can see a lot of
Yeah.
political examples also, which is not happening now. So definitely leaders are not born that way. And second thing is like if they can be made, even there are a lot of people who are striving to make people as leaders, they are not able to achieve it. But as you have rightly pointed out, I also strongly feel that that fire, inside uh, to contribute to people and to ensure to inspire people and be the role model for the people, that is the learnings that we have pulled in from the just the 5 or 10 minutes of the session. Wonderful learnings. So here is one of the most important qualities. Now we are, as you said, this is something which is really currently I can see it's lacking in our Zen Z people. Like the current children, if you're saying have that fire or be the role model, nothing of it is currently happening. So what do you think is the, or how do you think this leadership quality can be inculcated in children? So in children, like how do we make them, realize that this fire is required, or realize that all these qualities of a leader is required?
Yeah, I will look at two, three steps in that. The first step is creating awareness on responsibility. We need a responsible children, responsible leaders, responsible people. Uh, we cannot respond to always crisis, but we take accountability and ownership for our life. First, create awareness among children that they are the owners of their life. First, awareness, you have to create that. The second one is when they are created awareness, can we give them tools? Can we become coaches for them? So it is very important, each of the parent and every teacher, and they have to become coaches and leaders for the children to emulate and practice some good values. And the third step is we should create an environment where children also grows in the environment. When I talk about the environment, very, very important is what kind of friendship circle they have, whether that circle will influence him for better or will pull him down very bad. So that is a very, very important. I am a very firm believer. The friendship circle changes the person. So when your children chooses the friends, you should be very, very cautious enough. They are getting into the friendship circle, which friends are motivated, achievement oriented. They wanted to be maybe far above than others. If they move with those people, certainly they will also inculcate that kind of habits.
Very true, very true. I think
Yeah, Purni?
wonderful, very true. I think, definitely this friendship circle, that right associations is something which we are not even educating the children about. Most of the times, the child tends to choose people who are readily accepting their views, or people who are readily showing them the path where there is temporary happiness, or where there is, temporary delight. So definitely this is one aspect of coaching that parents need to do for children, and that's a wonderful point that you have brought in. So
No, one of the studies which I would like to highlight, there was a study conducted by Stanford. It's a cohort study among children, particularly how much they are achievement oriented. In the study, they went to the schools and said that very, very clearly. Say, you do want a chocolate. Every child would like to have a chocolate. Uh, there is only one thing they told. Okay, either you can have immediately chocolate, or you can wait for a couple of days, 2, 3 days, and you will get more chocolate. So the children who have adopted, who have opted to get immediate chocolate, that's the one group, the control group. Another group is the experimental group who said that we want more chocolates, we want to achieve more. So those children, Stanford University have studied for a very long time and found children who can put their pleasure for getting more, they have achieved more in the life. So it is a very simple logic. how much, say, it is not living in presence is another concept we talk about. Certainly you will grow in the life. This is the very interesting study conducted by Stanford.
Actually, you got a little bit disconnected. Can you just, the last line, can you repeat it again?
Yeah, very, very important is the ability to postpone immediate gratification. Getting away from very clearly, I look at that uh, the presence compulsions. I will say sacrificing that. Say you would like to go to cinema, you would like to enjoy with friends. Say it's not living happily every time, but if you are able to have the capability and capacity to postpone your very clear these kind of impulses, entertainment orientation. I'm not telling you should not have entertainment orientation. When you have a larger purpose, how do you plan for that? So very, very clear that children who can they think about future, they grow faster, better. The children who are engrossed or say in day-to-day activities, they are enjoying their life normally unless transformation happens, they endanger themselves.
Very true, very true. No, most of the parents, as parents or teachers, we are normally like not, not educating children on this temporary happiness and permanent happiness concept at all. So I think there are a lot of places where people focus on permanent happiness, wherein the long-term success or the long-term happiness and the, as Sarvesan sir rightly said, the fruits, that is the place where they are going to tend to see a lot of happiness and success permanently in their life. And that is one major quality of a leader, which is beautifully elicited by you, sir. Thank you so much. Yeah, we
Yeah.
understand that the current is fluctuating.
Back.
Thank
Yeah.
you, thank you. Um, so here is coming to the crux of the topic today. You have spoken about the topic title being Untold Secrets About Leadership. But before that, I want to know what are the told secrets and what is the untold secrets that you're going to tell us. So,
I think told secrets are very simple. Every one of us read so much literature are available in that segment. We spoke about who is a best leader is people who have competence and character. Character is the, I will say, embodiment of values. And of course, competence is your ability to deliver things
based
which
on.
related to your purpose. So there are very clearly people have attributed, say you should have a larger purpose, you should be value driven, and you should have basic competencies like business acumen for business people, and also for everyone communication and presentation skills we speak about, and the ability to inspire others. That is the one thing we look at for leaders, and handling conflict situations is another thing which is the emerging competency which people speak about. So there are many like that we can continuously speak about what it is told in the books. There are so much, I will say, literature available and people can read on that. But there are very, very limited perspective available on what is untold, what you should do. So that is the thing which I would like to dwell on maybe next 10, 15 minutes. That will be very, very crucial for today's topic.
True, true. We are waiting for it.
Yeah. There is the first point when we talk about, always we say leaders, you build ownership. So there is a very basic thing, ownership and accountability, responsibility we talk about. But nowhere people also taught about how to detach from this, because most of the entrepreneurs, they fail because they don't detach from what they do. So they don't get the right perspective of their business, right perspective of the people around, and the right perspective of the context, and they fail. So for that, the basic quality I look at that you should have ability to detach yourself from what you do. In fact, I will go to one more step. You should have ability to detach yourself and evaluate yourself. Self-evaluation is the ultimate, I will say, seed for growth, seed for learning, seed for change. So very, very important is who will do self-evaluation? A person who can detach himself from what he does. So that is very important. As every book told about build ownership, responsibility, accountability, I want people to talk about how to detach from that also. This is the first point which I would like to talk.
Wonderful.
The second,
The
yeah,
first point, no, before we go to the second point,
yeah.
it's a wonderful concept of detachment. Even I recently been attending a lot of trainings about P. Harvekar, where he also says that when you are involved in the business, it means you are still an employee. You are not an owner. No, when your business can run even without your presence, then it is business, and then you are an entrepreneur. That is what he also says. So this detachment, what do you think is the key one or two elements that is required?
So how do we inspire? Not many people have thought about how to inspire people. So the inspiration is, I already told you, once it comes from your role modeling. The second one is very important is when you have a larger purpose, can you inspire people through your purpose? So in fact, Peter Singer in his book, Fifth Discipline, he used to say, enroll people in your vision. So like in the school, you go and enroll for your education. So when you are in the organization, can you enroll people for your vision? So enrolling people for your vision means it's a very, very clear concept where people getting committing to your vision or committing to organization vision to dedicate themselves. So that's called enrollment. So this concept, if you really look at that, not many people speak about, but we only start speaking about inspire people. Inspire people what? Inspire people on purpose, enroll people, and get their fullest commitment and dedication for the purpose which organization is created for.
Wonderful, wonderful. So that is one thing. Yes, when you want to get detached, then it means that your vision has to get transformed to those
Yeah,
people who are there inside. That is a wonderful point. Okay, let's move to the next untold
yeah,
secret.
yeah. Next is always we spoke about listen to people, listen to others. But very, very important is the listening is all about the maturity to listen, which you don't want to listen as a leader.
Okay.
So I found in my life many, many very successful leaders, they have failed later part of their life because they were not willing to listen what is happening in the organization, which they don't want to listen at all. So they build people around them, only people who will speak about good things. When organization is created like that, when a DNA structure is created like that, I will tell you that is a recipe for disaster.
Very
But
true.
very, 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 very important is, can you build people or can you build a culture where dialoguing happens? You listen to people who have a contrary opinion. It's not that contrary opinion you should accept, but you should have maturity to listen to
Listen.
those kind of opinions. This is very, very important. For this, there is a very, very interesting incident there in the history. So Winston Churchill, he was a very, very tall leader during the Second World War. So Winston Churchill, when he was leading the British Empire, say, forces as a prime minister of that country, it, he realized that he always got information about good thing about the British army. Here it won, here it is all defeated enemies. Only he was getting the very, very good thing about British army. Then he realized it is very important. He should get the correct information. In the Second World War in 1940s, he created a department called War Statistics. The Department of War Statistics, very, very simple, say, objective there. It has to inform, say, Winston Churchill, Prime Minister, whatever happens in the world, wherever the British army is there, what is really happening, he should get information. But I don't find most of the leaders, most of the very, very, I will say, the great leaders in the present scenario also, they don't have system to support them when what is happening around the market, what is happening around their own organization, what is happening around their, in fact, I look at that competitors. So when these things are not happening, I will tell you that any organization, it is not going to be surviving for a long time.
Very true. Like even not just in the Winston Churchill era, but even before that, when kings and queens were ruling, we had the kings, always hear good things only from the ministers. So what
Yeah.
the king used to do is he will opt to go in disguise to the
Yes.
places and start watching as a citizen of that place as what is the real scenario of people. Now,
Yes.
that is something which
Yeah.
came into my
As a
mind.
king, yeah, as a king, you should get informations, and they used to travel to their different their country under the guise of different makeups. Yeah, we read that, but not leaders have inculcated that kind of very simple, uh, I will say, principles or simple practices like that in the organization.
Yes, very true, very true. Not even I would say that in the school, the role of a principal to go and watch out in the classes is
Yeah.
very, very important. And at home, role of a parent to go and see how the kid is really, playing or what the kid is really talking over phone to the friends. Sometimes
Yeah.
it is really required to know the reality. All
Yes.
these things, yes, very true. We're really happy to know the second secret. Now we're waiting for the third one.
Yeah. No, actually, we are now gone to fourth one.
Oh, okay. What is the third one?
The first one is I spoke about detachment.
Detachment.
Sec- the
Second
second
one,
one is
willing to listen what you don't want to listen.
no, the second one is I told about how to be enroll in the vision for larger purpose.
Yes,
That
yes.
yeah.
Okay.
Third one is about the listening. The
Okay.
fourth one is very interesting. Is when we speak about values, do we aware about value based conflicts?
Mm.
So we should understand. Say you have five values. Um, Purni, what are your five values which you practice with them?
Okay, my five values is first thing is integrity.
Yes,
What I talk, I want to follow. And
yes,
second thing is, about compassion.
okay,
I definitely want to, I
yes,
want to practice compassion always. And
okay. I will take these two values.
yeah,
Uh, so very interesting is there is a structure. I will available values. Say in your mind creates a DNA structure of values. So you say integrity and compassion. So these are the two values. You can have another any number of values. That's not
yes,
the issue. Look at that. I would like to use this example. Okay, when we are talking about integrity, it is you wanted not only you to practice honesty, truthfulness, and you want your own team members to also practice. So you have a housemate. I am giving you this example. So who is very coming from very poor background. Whatever amount you pay 5,000 or 10,000 rupees, with that money only she lives. So in fact, instead of 5,000 rupees, you are paying at 10,000 because your compassion tells that you should help her. Okay. So in that case, one day you find that she has stolen something in your home. So what will you do? Whether you will send her out or will you keep her? I will tell you very simple. If you are send her out, your integrity is overseeding your compassion. Okay, you forgive her, you keep her in the home, so your compassion overrides your
integrity.
integrity. So not many of us realize this value conflict we go through every day. This is a very important in
Priority
the
for
life.
us, that is the most important thing.
No, very important in the life is understand these conflicts and take decisions. Very important is the structure of it's not values which drives you. the structure of values which there in your life, when your spirit, when your DNA structure, which drives you, not your values alone. Not many people are aware about it. Not many researchers have gone into that.
Very true. So here, no, I really wanted to talk about this real-time incident where this is a maid really stole in my home. You know, definitely integrity is there, which I and definitely compassion is there. So I really thought about this story where once there was a snake which used to bite everybody in the village there, and
Yeah,
was
it's a
sage.
story
Yes,
told by Ramakrishna Paramahamsa.
yes, yes.
Yeah,
So
that's a very famous
he
story.
will
Yeah.
tell the snake, don't do the sin of biting people, and if you're doing this sin, then in the next janma you will be paying the karma for it and all those things. So the snake will realize and it will start work, ensuring that it is not biting. So, but the people in the village will take advantage. They will start playing, they'll hit it with it, and it will be like used like a toy only. Then when the sage comes and the snake will now was laying really helpless, bleeding, and the sage were asking, "What is this? Why are you in such a state?" And the snake will say that you told me not to bite, so I didn't bite. And for that, the sage will tell, I told you not to bite. I did not tell you you should not be making the sound to protect yourself. So here is what I really came up with. When that stealing is happened, and I knew that that person has stolen, it is my responsibility to also make that person understand that this is done by you in spite of so many things, and give them that chance for being good. And if that is also not happening, then definitely need to go to the next principle that I follow is detachment. Yes, next principle of detachment of uh, moving it away. So when you have that values, and when you start in having conflicts, also I one more thing that I wanted to share is like start building on your values. Go to the next stage where it also helps you to resolve that conflict. What do you suggest on that?
I will say the resolving the structure, the value structure, what I spoke about. Let's also understand it is very dynamic.
Mm.
When you grow, it is situational. You may have core values. I say these 5 values are core values I would like to practice. But how these core values are built in the value architecture, it is very difficult. That is, it will be stable all the time. I will tell you, it is a very dynamic. I can only tell it's very, very clearly. So please understand these conflicts. And I will say how to take decision is one thing is very simple. What is your larger purpose of the life? Relate to that purpose and whether this value conflict, how to handle that. So what this understanding conflict, you should always relate to your larger purpose of the life, larger vision of the life. So you will be able to take decisions better.
Very true, very true, very true.
Yeah. The next point which I would like to dwell on is, uh, see, leaders over a period of time, they build their own, I will say, conviction. Nothing wrong in that. They build their own uh, empire, kingdom. All those things are very good,
True.
but they also build their own spectacles. So it's where it is also called myopia thinking. So the leaders should remove their spectacles when they want to understand the organization, people, and world. So for it is applicable for anybody. So we have to remove your spectacles. That's what it is also related to little bit with attachment. But when you are see with your own spectacles, you are not going to understand the reality of the truth. So very, very important is,
It is true.
I will
Like,
say,
I've seen a very big company tumble down the ground just because of these spectacles. They
yes,
had employees like going and joining the competitors.
Yes.
Now, what really happened is because of one or two experiences, the focus started moving there, and
Yes.
the larger purpose got dissolved, and the focus of making the employee not joining competitors when they move out, started going up. So instead of focusing on how to make the employee stay in the company, they were focusing on how to ensure that the people moving out of the company are not joining competitors. So
Yes.
this is actually, I think, a very good example that I came to my mind suddenly when you were talking about.
No, for this, I will give you a very interesting example. There was an incident in the hospital during the Second World War time. What was happened was, it was very interesting incident. There was a very high level of deaths, in fact, happening to the mothers who are delivering in that hospital. So the maternity death was very high in that hospital. So people were not able to come with any solutions. They were looking here and around, say what should be the reason, some viral infection, some bacterial infection. All those discussions are continuously happened in the hospital. But nonetheless, nothing has helped them to bring down the maternity death rate. So what happened was, after that, they found one very interesting thing is, most of the doctors, that time it is not like so many specializations was there. They used to go and teach students, and particularly they used to teach in the labs, and they also do different roles because it was not a super specialty time. And they realized that doctors are become carriers of infection. So when they realized it, so for that, it is very, very important for them to remove their spectacle that they are not that will carry infections. Once they are able to remove their spectacles, looking at only outside, when they started looking inside, the leadership is all about looking inside, not only outside. So when you do that, for that, first thing you need is remove your spectacle, look inside.
Very true, very true. Yes.
Yeah. The next point which I would like to touch upon is learning from differences.
Mm.
Always we think that synergy creates convergence. These are the concepts which many organizations started speaking. But we should also understand you should learn from differences. I found leaders are very comfortable creating their own clones instead of selecting people with a different skill set, different mindset. Maybe you can have a one purpose, but you should have a people with a different skill set. I will say different capabilities who can challenge you. So that kind of differences when you there in the organization, I think people will be better off. But we don't say create that kind of environment as leaders in the organization will fail to grow. It is very important is you have to learn from differences. So don't live in your comfort zone. A leader should always have a competitors, yeah, I will say reportees who will challenge this leader. Then only they will not live in comfort zone. It is very important is learn from differences. So it is very important.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Yeah.
I think we
Then
had a handful of untold secrets. Yes, sir.
yeah,
Please proceed.
yeah. We can stop with this. In fact, I can talk another half an hour also. If I think how
No,
much
we will
time
have one more for sure. We can have one more for sure.
uh, we can go for one more.
Yes.
Yeah, one more secret which I can tell about is very important is which Jim Collins calls as Stockdale paradox. What does it mean? Stockdale paradox. Of course, he discussed about it, but very important is he talks about very clearly. It is a very interesting concept which he talks about. Do you have the ability to deal with all the facts of your life, all the facts of your organization? So particularly this. ability, this capability is very important when organization crisis, when organization in disaster. But at the same time, when you have ability to say embrace all the brutal facts, you should also have a mindset that you will prevail over anything. So you should also build your DNA system. So anything it is, say, when you are confronting the brutal fact, you should also tell to yourself, you will prevail any crisis, any disaster. So this is also very, very important. Not many people have spoken. For that, you need a great resilient leaders. It's not just flamboyant leaders are very, very successful. When you want to tide over a crisis or disaster, it is not that leaders who can very flamboyant will be successful. Always, I believe the resilient leaders, maybe who may not be very, very impressive as a speakers, but those leaders will be very, very useful in the crisis and disaster.
Wonderful. Really a bag full. I wanted to have one more series also with you to complete
Yeah,
the leftover. Definitely, we will
definitely,
untold
definitely, I can. Yeah,
secrets. Now, this series we will have one more,
yeah,
completing the rest of it also. So
yes,
one thing like I wanted to ask you, there are five or six things that we learned now about untold secrets of leadership. First being the detachment, then
yes,
having a vision,
yes,
and communicating that vision to others, willing to
yes,
listen what you don't want to listen,
yes.
and we also had,
Understand value-based conflicts.
yes, value based
Then
conflicts, and
remove your spectacles.
yeah,
Learn from
and
differences. Learn from differences. Then
yes,
last one is seventh one is Stockdale paradox.
yes. So this is a handful of things, but
Yes,
I wanted also for to end this session by telling us one or two practices that we can follow on a daily basis to
yes.
actually build that leadership quality in us.
I will tell you two things. One, learn some new thing in the life every day.
Okay.
For that, whether you read or you discuss with your people, but you should have, I will say, enormous amount of thirst to learn. One. The second is build some time in every day for yourself and evaluate yourself and think about what all you did is right or wrong. You will find yourself for the things which 10 things you did, there may be 100 ways you can do better also.
Wonderful, wonderful.
So very important is uh, new learnings continuously embrace. Second is whatever learning comes to you, understand it, think over it, and bring those learnings into your day-to-day life.
Wonderful. So I also wanted to add one more point to whatever you said. No, first thing
Yeah.
is learn new things every day,
Yes.
and uh, one more important thing is also practice what you have learned.
Yes.
So most of us are keeping on learning. Like we learn from here, there.
So
Uh, but
in fact, Courtney, I always say one of the toughest thing in the life is uh, there are two things which I can tell. One is there's a famous Thiruvallur saying, "Karka kasadara."
கற்றதை கற்றபின் நிற்க அதற்கு தக.
Very, 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 very important is say you can say learn, but very difficult is so whatever you have learned in the life, implement it.
Yes.
So
That also you can
Nirtaka.
focus,
So that is very, very important. So very, very, very important is in the life is whatever you have learned in the life, implement it. And also when you are learning it, karka kasadara, that means learn properly. Learn properly and implement it, your life will change.
Very true, very true. I
Yeah.
had Shiv. I recently attended a talk of Shiv Kera, where
Yeah.
he was telling. Normally, we all say practice makes a man or a person perfect, but he was telling practice makes a man or a person permanent.
Yes.
Okay, so whatever you practice, if you practice right, that becomes permanent. If you
Yeah.
practice wrong, that becomes
Yeah.
permanent. So now, just when you were talking, so in leaderships, there are a lot of people also practicing wrong leadership, and that became permanent. They say sometimes they feel that, dominance is the right way of
Yes.
leadership. So I think in the next series we will also talk about leadership styles
Yeah.
along with the untold secrets. That will be really
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. We can discuss.
Okay, thank you so
Thank you.
much
Thank you.
for
Thank you,
your
Vives. Thank
valuable
you.
time. And
Thank you, Vives. All the best. All the best for everything.
yes, and it's been an amazing learning. And thank you for so much for your time. And yes, wonderful insights for from what is leader to that journey of his journey only taught us a lot of things about leaders. And
Yes.
third thing, how to inculcate that leadership in children, and then the told secrets, untold secrets, and daily practices. It's a bag full of things. I think today, for this week, you have so much to practice. So, thank you so much, sir, for your
Thank you, sir.
amazing,
Thank you. Thank you.
insights. And with this, we come to the end of this sharing success stories with Dr. Purni. I'm going to be coming up with definitely another version of leaders again with Sarvesan sir, and also lot of other interesting people. Stay tuned with us, and thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Wishing you all happiness and success, and a great Christmas and a
Yeah.
very happy New Year.